If you thought these protesters demanding $15 an hour are pushing it, and Democratic lawmakers trying to mandate $12 an hour are overdoing it, now one California city topping it, raising its minimum wage to $16 an hour by 2019. Will this wave for government-mandated wage hikes have jobs taking a hike? Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda Butner. This is Bulls and Bears, and here they are, the Bulls and Bears this week. Gary B. Smith, Jonas Max Ferris, John Layfield, along with Lisa Booth and Nomi Konst. Welcome to everybody. Okay, Lisa, just as we're seeing jobs coming back, will this wage rage send the unemployment rate right back up?
Well, it absolutely will. But here's the thing. Democrats are pushing this because it's a cheap political tactic to get low-income voters. And that's what they're trying to do, because the reality is when cash goes into one pocket, it comes out of another. What you are doing is forcing businesses to either increase costs, which are going to be passed down to consumers, or lay off workers.
Nomi?
That's totally inaccurate. Corporations are hitting the highest profit margins ever. There's more money in their coffers to pay their workers livable wages. Nobody I know can support themselves and a family of two, let alone four, off of $15 an hour. Wages are the lowest in history, and the cost of living is higher than ever. How do you get more profits? You put money in the pockets of individuals who are going to go out there and spend in the consumer economy. That's how our economies run.
Okay, Gary B., I'm not sure about some of that. Most of the minimum wage workers don't support a family of four.
And most of the minimum wage workers aren't at these large corporations. I don't know if IBM has any minimum wage workers, for example. But the point is, this has been studied, and the facts are this. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, came out and said, raise minimum wage, going to lose 500,000 jobs. But we even have better tests, because states are able to raise their minimum wage above the federal level. It's been studied by UC San Diego. The economists there found that states that raised their minimum wage versus states that didn't cost the unemployment 6 to 8 percentage points. So the facts are out there. You just can't move the money around and magically create this great economy that Nomi thinks somehow is out there for all kumbaya. That's the way the market works, whether you like it or not.
Okay, John, somebody has to pay for higher wages. Either we have to pay higher prices, or people lose their jobs, or businesses go out of business. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Look, if raising the minimum wage was boosting the economy so much, raise it to $100 an hour. Look, that argument just doesn't hold water. It's just, it's irresponsible. It sounds good. It even looks better on a bumper sticker when you say $15 minimum wage. But to say that a minimum wage worker is supporting a family of four, look, that is a pure fabrication. The average family that has a minimum wage worker, the family brings in $53,000 per year. That is a living wage, because most of them are part-time, most of them are teenagers, are people that are not the head of households. You cannot raise a federal minimum wage, because what works in Seattle does not work necessarily in Alabama or Mississippi. So you need to allow states to do this. And what Lisa said is 100% accurate. The Democrats want this for 2016. They will not allow this to be fixed. I promise you that. I'm for fixing the minimum wage. If Democrats were doing this
for 2016, they would raise the minimum wage to $25 an hour, because there's no way that anybody, well, let alone a family of four or one individual, can support themselves off of $15,000 or $15.
But
a lot of them are
teenagers. The problem is
they're not doing it.
Hold on. Okay, I want to let John respond.
No, they're not doing it. That's the thing. That is pure fabrication. Look, and they do want to raise it. They do want this as a 2016 election article. If they didn't, they would fix the minimum wage, because there is bipartisan support to tie this to an inflation and a basket of wages. The Democrats don't want this because they want to get reelected, and the unions don't want it. Don't please. Let me finish. The unions don't want it because it's a recruiting tool. It's plain and simple. This is politics.
Okay, I want to get back to the money here. Jonas, you agree that any minimum wage above a market clearing price basically will cause unemployment, but that's not the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean, just from a purely economics point of view, every town, every city has different economics and wages, and there's a different free market. If there were no wage laws, you know, maybe around San Francisco it would be very high. In some parts of the country it could be $5. That's the clearing wage. So when you start to raise that rate somehow through, and it doesn't just have to be minimum wage. When they say you can't fire people, when you can't do overtime pay, when you have to do health insurance, retirement benefits, there's a whole litany of things that are interfering with just a pure free market wage. You're going to get slightly higher unemployment. The question is that trade-off worth it? You know, you could, if it went to $100 to the point, that's obviously not a good trade-off. There's going to be a point where there's hardly any like fast food jobs in the entire country. They'll be robots or they'll be out of business. The question is, do we get a psychological benefit with the higher unemployment, the artificially higher unemployment? You know, you don't have to go to Europe levels where you have double digits unemployment, but do people keep the pitchforks at bay and not turn on their employers if they feel there's a minimum wage and they're getting a little more than they would want? There's also another benefit. You know, the cheap goods like the dollar menu at McDonald's will probably go away. On the other hand, you're having artificially high-paid workers serving up food. You might get a better quality of service than you ordinarily would get with a free market wage. So again, there's losers and winners in doing this because it is artificial.
Okay, Lisa, go ahead and respond to that.
Well, you know, look, what I want to do is point back to what Nomi said, because the problem is Democrats are playing fast and loose with the facts here, because according to Pew Research, 50% of the individuals who have a minimum wage are between the ages of 16 to 24 years old.
The majority, untrue.
Yes, it is. Actually, that's according to Pew Research. So, the majority of those individuals are living in households that make above the national average.
Rate is
additionally, two-thirds of those individuals will receive a pay increase within a year. So you're playing fast and loose with the facts. And the reality is,
that's a false study. That's just a blatant false study.
Okay, all right.
That teenager thing is not true.
Okay,
so you're fact-checking Pew Research.
Okay, we can discuss, I mean, on one hand, on the other hand, but the CBO, as you pointed out, Gary B., is a nonpartisan group, and it says that we could lose hundreds of thousands of jobs.
It's going to be almost impossible. Anytime, you know, one of the fallacies of this whole thing, and getting back to kind of Jonas's point, and then your point, Brenda, is that we still have this unabashed faith in government like they're the Wizard of Oz, that if they just could somehow, there was some super smart people back there that could pull a lever here and push a rod there, they could come up with a magical perfect minimum wage that wouldn't raise unemployment, and yet it would make people happy out there. I mean, it just is a fallacy. We've seen this with economists at the Fed that try to control the economy. We've seen it with people in the Treasury Department. We've seen it all over. Brenda, economists say, objective economists say, that study after study says when you raise the minimum wage past what I think Jonas said, or maybe John, the market clearing price, you're going to have more unemployment. Now, you can argue all the other benefits you want, but that's the bottom line.
Because companies are going to other states that don't have those minimum wage laws. That's why the unemployment is going up. They're leaving the states that are increasing minimum wage. If it was a national thing, then we wouldn't have this job loss.
John?
But they go away.
What about overseas?
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
California is losing jobs to Texas because of taxes. Has absolutely nothing. These are good, high-quality jobs. So look, you're entitled to your own opinion, not your own fact. And the average family, again, that has a minimum wage worker brings in $53,000 per year. I am for fixing the minimum wage, but why choose an arbitrary number like $12 or $15? Because it looks good on the back of a bumper sticker. And is it going to hurt jobs? Absolutely. But we need to fix the minimum wage, not just make it a political football like it has been, and it is right now.
Okay, Jonas, you were about to get in there.
I just think it will definitely raise unemployment in some markets more than others if it was federal. The way it's going down now, where certain cities are going to a higher level, that's an interesting experiment. Maybe Seattle can handle the double-digit ones. Maybe Virginia can't. But it would be interesting to see what would happen. But I will say it could be, in some cases, the benefits are as good as the negatives. There are definitely negatives. You can't paint it like it's all upside for everybody. Everyone just gets more magic money to throw around. I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be some wage pressure. Some people are not going to be able to get jobs because they only are employable at a certain wage. That's the bottom line.
But Jonas, why is that the government's job to kind of make everybody happy out there? And why do they? Where is that in the Constitution that they're entrusted with that?
Okay, I'm sorry,
well,
Jonas.
You could argue that the Constitution is because in like France they had a revolution because they didn't have this and people turned on the rulers, and look what happened. It didn't end so well. So.
All right, I got to give you the last word there. Thanks, guys. With ISIS threats to our homeland mounting, are our efforts to cut off its funds failing? Why someone here says the only way to squash this threat is to hit them where it hurts.